Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna look into early game brown mushroom farming a little bit. The first time in years it actually became relevant to have a lot of brown mushrooms in the game for those swamp slime farms. So as you've seen the previous video, brown mushrooms are the perfect block for those type of farms. There are alternatives like redstone torches or glow lichen. Also a lot of you guys actually ask for alternatives. I might cover this in a future video, but today I'm just gonna show you that it's actually not a lot of work to get a large amount of brown mushrooms without being very advanced in the game, and you also don't need to build a farm for those. So you can just do some normal manual farming. It's actually not a lot of work, and all the materials are easy to acquire. I think it's definitely possible to build a swamp slime farm even with the brown mushrooms within the first couple hours of playing the game. So of course you probably have other priorities when you actually start up a new world, like getting villagers first or maybe making an iron farm. Usually the slime farm is not really like the first farm you want to build, but definitely within the first 5 usually. Alright, so we started a new world. You definitely want to do your normal progression, get some food, chop a tree, go mining, etc. But we'll also need at least 1 brown mushroom for later to be able to get more. Right, so there's a couple places where you can find brown mushrooms. The swamp already is a pretty good one. Well, at least if you play the right version of the game. So 1.18, within 5 minutes of searching in creative, couldn't find a single brown mushroom, but in 1.19 snapshots, you can find them again. This is also a known bug according to the bug tracker. In the witch hut, by the way, there is also a flower pot, but it always has a red mushroom. Other good spots for brown mushroom is the dark oak forest. We can find the huge mushrooms. Or the mushroom field biome. If you find a very large one, then your problems might already be solved if you chop down enough of the huge mushroom trees. You can also find plenty of brown mushroom in the old growth pine or tiger forest, but usually it's not enough to supply with a couple hundred of them. If you're really lucky, you can also see them generating in places where it's dark enough, like for example in caves. But it's probably not a good idea to go mining with the intent to find those brown mushrooms because they're quite rare. In case you weren't lucky finding the right biomes in the overworld, going to the nether usually is also a pretty good idea because they also generate here. They're especially easy to spot if you manage to get on top of the bedrock roof. And it might also be worth it to check the wandering trader, they sometimes sell them as well. So the way we're gonna farm a lot of brown mushroom in the early game is to just grow the mushroom into a tall mushroom tree. So in order to do that, we will just need 1 single brown mushroom, some bone meal, and of course a tool to harvest. And the iron axe already is enough, because you can insta-mine the mushroom blocks for unenchanted iron axe. Of course, better axes like diamond or netherite or gold would also work, but yeah, it's definitely very achievable to get a couple of iron axes in the early game. The quickest way to get a decent amount of bone meal is actually go to the nether and find a soul sand valley and then just harvest the fossils with the bone blocks. So each of those bone blocks would supply you with 9 pieces of bone meal. So it's easy to get a couple stacks this way. Also, the soul sand valley is also pretty good for more bone gathering because the skeletons would spawn in here. And of course in the overworld you could find a skeleton spawner. So once you have enough tools, bone meal, and at least 1 brown mushroom, you can start farming. Also, if you happen to have silk touch already, might be quite useful to bring along a mycelium, nylium, or podzol block, because on those 3 blocks you can place the brown mushroom in broad daylight. It's not dependent on the light level, while on other blocks you can only place the mushroom if it's at light level 12 or lower. Okay, now we can start setting up our farming area. So the best one would be a flat area where there's no grass around that you could accidentally bone meal. Okay, so next step is to restrict the light level in case you don't have any podzol. So just place down a block where you can then place a mushroom on. Gonna pillar up. This will also help restrict the height of the brown mushroom tree. We're gonna pillar up 8 blocks and then go out 2 to each side. So like this. And fill in the corners here. And this way we will have light level 12 below. So then either jump down and fill this up again, or jump down to the side. Okay, now we can already place the brown mushroom and also bone meal it. So in order to nicely reach the cap of the brown mushroom, just gonna place a couple of blocks here that we could climb up. And then just pretty much stand in the middle and mine out to the side like this. Get all the brown mushroom blocks. And mine the stem as well. Place down the next brown mushroom, bone meal it. There we go, and harvest the next one. So if you're quick, you can definitely do this under 10 seconds to grow one and harvest one. Also helps to not fall off. There we go. might be a bit annoying. It grows into you, then you get damaged a little bit, but as you can see, this goes fairly quickly. This was only 3 brown mushrooms, and let's maybe pick it up. Almost have a stack already. Alright, so this is a pretty decent way to farm them. I'm kind of curious how much we can actually get in 5 minutes. Might also be a good idea to put the bone meal in the offhand. So in order to bone meal the brown mushroom, you can already switch to the diamond pickaxe and then just right click it like this. This way we might be a bit more efficient. Alright, so I'm gonna start out with exactly 4 stacks of bone meal and 1 brown mushroom. Let's see how much we can get in 5 minutes. Okay, there we go. So let's take a look at the results. So I got 6 stacks of brown mushrooms plus 45 minus the one we had to invest in the beginning. So 428 brown mushrooms in 5 minutes. I had to use roughly 1500 uses from my diamond axe. This would be the equivalent of using 6 iron axes. They each have 250 durability. So about 18 iron ingots. And I only had to use 1 stack of bone meal. Also was a bit clumsy when harvesting those brown mushroom blocks, so I'm pretty sure somebody else could also get 7 stacks in 5 minutes. So it should definitely be doable to get all the brown mushrooms for such a farm in less 10 minutes. Also, if we compare gathering the mushrooms to maybe one of the alternatives, which is having glow lichen in the ceiling, I think gathering the brown mushroom is less effort because it's actually quite annoying to place the glow lichen in the ceiling. So normally you couldn't even reach it, so for every single block you have to jump and place it like this. That's not that nice. Especially if you do it a couple of 100 times. Probably nicer just to gather the brown mushrooms. So I would really say if it's somebody's priority to build a farm like this first in the world and only focus on this, you can definitely, depending on a little bit of seed luck, do it in about 2 hours. Of course, we also have alternatives to farming brown mushroom manually. In case you don't mind waiting a little bit longer and just invest a bit of AFK time or have something running on the side while you're working on something else, you can make brown mushroom farms as well. For example, spreading based ones, which unfortunately are really slow, so you would need to probably AFK overnight to get enough. Or you could also have something that would automatically blow up the brown mushroom blocks with some TNT duping. So there's definitely different ways to farm brown mushrooms, and since for the first time in years, it actually became a little bit more relevant again. Probably also gonna look into that on this channel here in the future. Alright, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.